that just a few years ago. I had never thought digital art was where I was headed. It's an interesting space to be in.
Yeah, so you had that learning curve, right? I mean, I'll admit it myself. I mean, I'm learning as well so much of this, and it's been a fantastic, like, it's basically going down the rabbit hole, right? I mean, you must have had that, like, in a very, very specific sense of going from a creative process in one world and then going into a creative process in a different world.
You know, it's kind of beautiful because before that I was more in the commercial world. So
right,
and I felt like I never had that control I really wanted. You know, like even though I was a still life photographer and I have all these stands to hold my lights and hold all my cards and I had control over the image and I got really good at knowing exactly where I want everything. But it still wasn't having control over a voice. And now being in crypto art and having a different audience and a kind of a new space to delve into anything that I want to show, no matter what. Like anything that I feel is interesting to me will be interesting to somebody looking at it, you know. Anything that I find different, or like I find ways to, here, let me show you my camera while I'm here. This is so fun. This is what I shoot with. Whoa.
like steampunk meets crypto, right?
Yeah, that's my that's when I go still life, and even video I use that way, and I take it apart into a more easy to move version when I go out with it. But yeah, there's a lot to. There's a lot of rabbit holes in crypto and in blockchain and a lot of ways that people are excelling in different ways. Like yesterday I met up with a bunch of crypto marketing people from New York City, and I learned so much about how little awareness there is even through different blockchain applications.
Hi Misha, nice to see you.
Am I in?
You're in and you're live.
Oh, yeah.
And
hi, sorry guys.
It's fantastic. So I'm going to leave you two to it, and I'm going to just disappear off the stage and look forward to listening to what you got to say. Thank you very much.
Cool. Hey, how's everybody? Sorry about this. This is, you know, typical an analog artist coming into.
It's all good. It's all good. Hello, I got the practice with the last panel. So yeah, how's it going? This is Fireside Chat.
Hey, I am so sorry.
Can you hear me? You good? Oh,
I've got a bit of a delay.
Do you have two tabs open?
Got tabs open.
Sometimes that happens.
This is almost like creating a work of art. Maybe don't
Our lives are creating works of art.
Yeah, I know. Are you able to hear me? Because I had two tabs open, so
yes,
three
much
tabs
better
actually open in panic. I apologize to everybody. And Gisel, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. How are you doing?
No worries. I'm good. I'm good. It was nice to chat with everybody in the last panel and with you earlier.
Yes, it was such a fascinating panel. I didn't really want it to stop. I could just go on forever learning about this new world. I wanted to ask you a couple of personal questions because I know this is all about technology, but I think something for me that might be missing is just the human connection. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Can you tell me how you became an artist and what was your journey into becoming one? And yes, maybe a little bit about your heritage, because I know you're Cuban, and how maybe that has influenced your work. So yeah, please fire away.
Both my parents are Cuban. I have been in New Jersey for, you know, the beginnings of everything. Very conservative lifestyle, and ended up breaking out to college at RISD. Right before RISD, though, I was taking a lot of classical oil painting as a child. Like I loved it. I loved art. I was drawing all the time, and I really loved oil painting, and ended up just in a very traditional representational way, type of like technical painting, like recreating artworks that are seen, you know, like, or in person, but recreating things in a technical way. But then, so I went to RISD, and I was like, I know there's more to art than just making a pretty picture. Like there has to be more to it. So going to Rhode Island School of Design, I was like, I questioned everything. I learned so many different mediums. I did sculpture. I did illustration as my major because it gave the most flexibility as to what classes we could take. Henry Hornstein was my teacher, and his teachers were Aaron Siskin, Harry Callahan, like, you know, the greats of photography back when it started. And Henry, my teacher, he wrote the books on what most people study when they study photography. He wrote those books. So I had a really interesting path to learning photography at the end of my college experience. Ended up going to New York City and got into art, like a art director office, and then I started digital teching because I knew I was good with computers, and I knew I wanted to be in photography somehow. And then I was assisting all kinds of really wonderful fashion photographers, still life photographers. I kind of like saw the gamut, helping them convert to digital photography, because this was back when film was still a thing for professional work, or like a lot of medium format, you know, a lot of. And then, so then fast forward a little more, I did a burning handbag after working at Barney's. I helped them start a digital studio, their first web photography studio. I helped create that, and then I started burning accessories and going into this kind of fashion photography, still life world for like 15 years. And in that time, I ended up traveling the world. I saw so many things. I learned about cultures. I learned about everything it is to live, you know, and to travel, and what you really need in life. And then I ended up being at home, I have 2 kids. I ended up getting really into roller derby after having these kids, you know, subcultures. Like I was really into like the idea of what culture means, and I got
derby, is that
roller derby. I was a grammar.
Something on like Netflix. There's a documentary based on all these different.
Is
that what you're talking about? The kind of women get into this kind of very subcultural activity. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
so you got
I did that for about five years after having kids.
Wow.
Right after, like 3 months, I had my daughter, and I was like, I need something else.
Is that so?
Yes.
Really physical. Yeah.
Yes, it got me into shape really quick.
Okay.
And then, you know, everything from like cooking, like just like I ended up starting an ice cream company.
Wow.
And it's like, you know, it's like as an artist, like you just go into finding out what it is you want to know about life, and you draw so much experience from living life and from living the curiosities that you find. So after the ice cream, I did it for like 2 years, New York Ice Cream Gallery. And it ended up, you know, my husband's an artist too. And we have this dream to one day have a gallery, you know, and then I'm like, I'll have ice cream giving away instead of wine, you know. This dream is still there. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But then I started reading The Spatial Web, and it was a book that changed everything as far as learning about what blockchain is.
Do you want to give me like just a just a quick elevator pitch, because I hear you talk about it. So in a way, I am mining to see where this sort of notion of maybe what sparked your journey into art, or what is your personal, you know, what's your kind of soulful connection to having to create and exist in this realm of being an artist and working in technology? So so what is this book about? Just give me a quick elevator pitch.
So let me answer the first one about what it is that drives me. Physical process, like the physical nature of being in existence, like the light, how it interacts, like I as a kid, I was really into experiments, chemistry, you know, like to know explosions and to know what happens in our physical realm versus, and now doing the same kind of discovery into what the digital realm is, you know, like I'm constantly looking at the micro versus the macro in worlds, like finding worlds within worlds.
Okay.
And this digital world is exactly that. It's like a million worlds in a world. Right. The spatial web it's seen as the pairing of real and virtual realities, like the pairing of the two and how that's developing within blockchain. I didn't understand anything of blockchain until reading this book. It's by Gabriel René and Dan Mapes. And it helped me understand the impact of what blockchain really could do for many industries, not just art. And I didn't even speak of art, actually. I ended up looking for it. I started researching into it, and I found a podcast by the Matthew and Rizal show. And I learned about Super Rare through that. And I contacted Super Rare, and they actually helped me through a lot of the hurdles of Web3 and how to get a wallet and how to enter the world as a non-digital savvy. Yeah. You know, I was good with computers, but not understanding this new world.
Okay, can I just interrupt you there? Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, because there's a lot of talk about technology, and for somebody like myself that comes from maybe an old school traditional, well, not very traditional. I mean, I make incredibly experimental work and also very, very physical work. But if somebody who exists in a kind of realm of traditional art, there is a lot of talk about technology, and I think I'm just going to try to keep away from it, because in our conversation early on, where you were so kindly educating me, I was absolutely thrilled to bits to learn about all these things. I think somewhere down the line, my notion that actually good art is good art, it can be, you can call it blockchain, or you can be a sculpture, or it can be a drawing, or it can be a piece of video art. That value of like incredibly powerful work will always hold its weight. And I think in terms of the language that we are using tonight, it's incredibly exciting, because somebody has to bridge this for traditional art industry or traditional art market and start to bring it to them. And I am super grateful to be part of this dialogue, because I could be one of these people that will do that, you know, to introduce more people. I would just like to know from you, before we go into the details about technology, what do you consider to be a good art? What is your version of a powerful art? So, because you come from you sort of describe yourself as a digital artist or crypto art. What is good art?
I would consider myself just an artist, but you know, everybody loves having categories, and but art transcends categories. Art is a new chapter in a book. You know, like it is like a new look at the history in any genre, primarily even photography, and you see what the people of the past have done, and you get an idea as to every human has a whole life of art that they've made, like every artist.
Yeah.
The ones who can understand what has been done and what there is to do, and be able to marry the two and find something new, find a new passion through it that they find in themselves, that gives them that feeling of this is something for me, you know, not for anybody else. Yeah. The art pieces that kind of break those boundaries and really make a difference in what it is that art can be, those are the ones that last.
Yeah, and do you think you have to be just incredibly technical to be in the crypto art world, or can you be completely non-technical and yet obviously educate yourself how to apply the tools of the technology?
I think it's yeah, I think you don't have to be completely technical.
I mean, do you have to be a nerd to be
right now, in a way, right now, there's a lot of boundaries still, and a lot of things that can go wrong. Like you don't remember your seed phrase from the beginning. You know, the first thing you do is start a wallet, but if nobody tells you to keep those seeds and really know what that means, it's tricky. It gets really tricky, and you find out the hard way. I found out the first time going through Super Rare or any other places, you realize that you have actually multiple wallets. Every time you sign up to a website and they say, you know, give you your phone number, or if it's through blockchain, you're actually making an extra wallet, like through Fortmatic, or there's like different ways of doing it, which can be very confusing if you want to have control of that later and know the ins and outs of it. It can be very confusing. So I think there does need to be a lot of education in this sector for artists that are not technically savvy.
Okay, and is there anybody who does that? Is there a blog that does that? Is there somebody that has taken care of it?
I am self-taught on most of it. I was helped in the beginning in one of the platforms. The best thing about all these platforms, they all have communication with the creators and the people behind it. You can find their Telegram or their Discord or just chat with them on whatever social media you can find through their website. And ask for help. That's the number one thing you can do right now, is just ask for help in what you're looking for.